cetera. What is it like to try to institute your personality, your everything into a new program?
Can I hold on? Can I just add one little thing? Can I add one little thing or challenge one little thing to that, Saul? Because I think it's important context as Chris answers this. He didn't bring his people. It's not like he had his whole staff from Baltimore.
Right.
He's got guys that are all new, all over the place that he has never worked with. So add that context, Chris, to your answer as well.
I can't tell you how hard and challenging that is going to be, because you have – so, my time at Boise when I took over, I was there for 5 years, and we were doing pretty well. So – and even though I didn't totally know what I was doing as a head coach, I just kept doing the things that were working, and a couple things that I thought the team wanted or we didn't like, we adjusted those things to kind of pour gas on the fire, and it all went. Then you come over to Washington, and I think depending on how different your styles and cultures and systems are, because there's always going to be some difference, but some are much different than others, that can be just shocking. And I've said this many times, I have so much respect for Steve Sarkisian and what he did at Washington, what he's doing now. I mean, he's growing. It's awesome to watch. But our styles were so completely different in terms of running the teams and the organizations that I've described the first 2 years at Washington, and that's me bringing our entire staff, as culture shock. And so for what Mike Macdonald's going into as a first-time head coach, taking people from all over, putting their way together, which they're kind of creating on the run, it is a huge, huge challenge. But this guy is extremely smart, as we know. He is a great football coach, X's and O's. And it'll be really cool to watch him build this along with John Snyder and all the experience there. And they're going to do some really cool things, and I can't wait to sit back and watch.
Let me follow up on that just because I'm curious. So you show up to Washington, and I think that's really well said about the respect for Sark, but also just the completely different styles. And I think that's probably going to mimic what we're seeing here in Seattle with the Seahawks as well. But what was your first step? When you said, okay, it's going to be a culture shock. We're going to completely change the culture of this organization. What was the first thing you did to try to do that?
Well, I think there's, even though I had been a head coach for 8 years over there, and you come to a new situation, you really have to treat that as a brand new and start from scratch situation. And I think the first thing is really selling the players on your vision going forward and not assuming just because you say, hey, this is how we're going to be, everybody's all in. And so I think it's really important to partner with the guys who are there, the vets that have been there, that have seen a lot of different places. Most of these guys have been different places before they're, the vets before they came to Seattle. So they've seen a lot of things, and they've seen some things that really work well, some things that probably don't work well. And so, we could talk for a long time on this subject you just brought up, but I think the main thing is to have your way, but it's not only just your way. It's going to be the Seahawk way. It's going to be what John Snyder thinks. It's also going to be what some of those vets that have been around that are really smart and seen a lot of things. And to really create a partnership and build this thing together going forward. I think that's one of the things, if I had a do-over walking back into the University of Washington, I would have partnered more quickly with the guys that were there and try to create this together rather than saying, hey, this is how we go here. I would like a do-over on that one.
Coach Petersen here with us this morning. So appreciate the time. I do want just a question on the college end of things here in just a minute. But before I do, my last Seahawk and NFL question. When you were at Boise, when you were at Washington, how much NFL scheme, how much NFL tape, how much time did you spend studying this game, this NFL game versus your collegiate game?
Yeah, that's a great question. We would watch the NFL. We would, we finally got access. For a while, you couldn't get access to the NFL tape. And then they relaxed those rules, and then we had full access. I think it wasn't until the time I got to Washington that you could see all the NFL games, and we would make some cut-ups off of things that they're doing. But you have to pick and choose because it's almost like you can just be chasing ghosts, as we'd say. There's just like so much tape, and you could watch hours and days and months and still, not have the answers. So you really have to watch people that are very similar to what you're trying to do. And so that could come from other colleges. That could come from high schools. I think some of these high school coaches these days are tremendous and tremendously creative. In some ways, more creative than the NFL and the colleges. Sometimes we're too scared to get outside of that box because of the stage that we're on. And the high school guys, they don't care. They're going to go try it. They're going to be creative. They're going to be innovative. And so you have high school teams that do things that you do, and you might watch some of that, and you're like, look what these guys are doing. And you got the NFL on the other side. So really the trick is, you're watching tape all the time, but you have to hone in to who are you and who's like you that can best help you.